John in the locker room. He drops the rock on the flower. The rock vibrates and moves through the room. The rock comes to a stop at one point by first circling an area and then slowly spiraling to a hole. John looks at the spot where the rock stopped. He tries to pick it up, but it's fixed in place. He thinks it's stuck to the floor, but then, as John is touching the stone, the flower starts to crack. John stands back as the flower crack slowly widens and the rock sinks inside it. Suddenly, the rock dissipates into a black smoke. John comes closer and looks at the hole. He sees an object inside. He knees down and takes a closer look. The object is a metal spiral with a dark triangular line running through its side. It has a black circle next to that triangular line. John looks at it then. Slowly, the object rises from the flower hanging in midair. Then a sound is heard stemming from it. It's a sound like that of a static shock. Then the shock seen all of the sudden around the element and electricity, and then a wide powerful lightning. It spreads around the room, engulfing everything including John. It spreads through the hallways, the cafeteria, the parking lot, and the gym. Pick shots optional to display. The entire school had gone through a lightning storm and John is on the ground covered in burns, rips and burns around his body and yet no scars. John is on the ground. John wakes up. Slowly his eye flinches and he gives of a sound out. John sits up. He holds the back of his head with his right arm. His eyes still sting. Then John slowly starts to open them. The room all around him is covered in burns and cracks. The lookers, some of them their doors melted in place. The paint has darkened on all of them but not specifically around the burns. It's the entire surface of the lockers that has turned rough and dense. It's like someone replaced all the paint with the graphite of 10,000 red pencils. As John stands up, what happened? John thinks as he slowly picks himself up of the cold wrecked floor, Hess holding the back of his head with his right hand. All around him burns and cracks. John's body is riddled with burns and rips. He is fairly bruised but it looks as if he just ran through a fire. John looks around and sees the room that's wrecked. The lockers have been burned through in places, molten, the paint is scorched and burned. The floors are riddled with cracks around him. The ceiling and the walls are ripped. Chunks of them have fallen down as large as a dog. As John walks around the school, he sees what he has done. His revelation has wrecked the school all around him, cracks and burn marks. Locker room doors have been torn out of place. The posters are noting but ash. The few who had survived are barely half their size. Oddly enough, there was no fire. All the wooden desks have been burned through like lightning had passed through them, and yet they didn't burn entirely. No fire had ravaged the school. No fireman had come to see and check for anything. There are no police, no guards in sight. The force of what he had released had passed through like a bullet and yet no one had noticed. John was confused. How was this possible? John wondered if the FBI had anything to do with this. He thought that any second the door we're gonna free open and a bunch of guys with suits would come in and try to take him away. 17. John in Sam's house. Samantha enters the house through the front door. Dad, I'm home. Be sure to extend the since it is a shout, and that's the way people talk when they're tired. John, what happened to you? Samantha sees John. His clouds are torn up and Hess covered with woollands. Hess been waiting for Samantha. Sam, greater than John, what happened to you? John, greater than, look, there's no time to explain. Sam, what do you mean we've got to get you to a hospital? John, no, Samantha, listen to me. Listen to me, he shouts. Samantha has a distinct look of worry on her face. John, I need you to pack your things and head for that old hiking path your uncle showed you in 7th grade, okay? Take a cab and meet me there at your uncle's cabin. Samantha, John, what's going on? PG-45, John, some people are looking for me. Bad people. Okay, the ones who killed Vin's dad. I found out what they were looking for and they tried to kill me to get it. Sam, look at me. I promise I'll explain everything just as soon as I get fit. But for now I need you to get your stuff. Pack up some supplies and meet me there. I love you, you know that.